Hi everyone, my name is Allie and welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing a video that I have not done in a very long time. I actually genuinely cannot remember the last time I did a haul video. I really don't remember. And I kind of wanted this to be two parts of like me doing the haul and then me also talking about like why I haven't done a haul in so many months. So I also think that's really important to talk about is like why have I not been buying books lately? Why I haven't really felt the need or the draw to buy books, even if I like go to a bookstore or go look at like the book section at Target or whatever. I just like have not been feeling the desire to buy books like I used to in the past. And it really has almost nothing to do with like my financial situation or anything like that. It really is just like this feeling that I get every time I go and look at books in person or even like online, and my mind just draws a blank of like anything that I want or need. And I actually have my library to thank for that, I think, honestly. I mean, I've always used my library, even in the past, back when I would like make these bigger hauls. I would still use my library, obviously. Like I was using audiobook loans from the library. I was taking out physical books from the library. But for some reason, especially within the last couple of years, I just have felt myself gravitating more and more towards picking up like new books from the library or from like Hoopla, from Libby or whatever, instead of going to like Barnes & Noble or Target or whatever and picking up a book physically. I also think that because I have been thrifting more of my books, that's also kind of deterred me from buying books from like Barnes & Noble or whatever. I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this as well, because like I have a really great thrift store near me and it has like a huge book selection and their books are like 99 cents for a paperback. So like I kind of enjoy that feeling of going to like a used bookstore or the thrift store or whatever and just seeing what they have and seeing what speaks to me and looking at all their selection and just kind of like not really having a set plan. And now that I say it, I do think that my thrift store has a lot to do with like my buying habits lately. Even when I go clothing shopping, I'm like, I would rather go clothing shopping at a thrift store for some reason rather than going to like an actual like clothing store. I don't know, there's something about it. I like the thrill of the hunt, and it's not as exciting to hunt for things that have already been kind of curated for you. So yeah, I think that's mainly why I just have not really been buying new books lately. And a lot of these books, I will say, were either purchased for me like as a gift or were sent to me from the publisher. And then basically everything left over from that was either from the thrift store or it's for like Christmas money where I was given maybe like 20-30 bucks to go to Barnes & Noble. So this is basically just a cumulative haul. And it really has no rhyme or reason, honestly. Like, these are just books that I might have shown you guys in vlogs or whatever. But for those of you who might not watch my vlogs or maybe aren't subscribed to my channel, you haven't seen these books yet, so I'm gonna be really excited to show you guys, and we're just gonna jump right in. I guess I'll start with the newest book that I've added to my collection, and that is The Do-Over by Suzanne Park. I picked this up when I was actually going thrifting recently. We were just kind of like walking around downtown Ventura, and I stumbled upon this really awesome bookstore that specializes in like romance books and women's fiction, and I had never seen it before. It actually just opened like maybe a couple weeks ago, and I was so stoked, and I knew that I had to pick up a book from them. So I ended up picking out The Do-Over, which I've had on my TBR for quite a while. And basically this book is about a Korean American young woman who wants to go back to college to finish up her credits. And when she gets there, she realizes that she knows the TA for one of her classes. And things happen from there. And I think that it has like a lot of the elements that I love in my romance books. I love the collegiate setting. I think that that's a lot of fun, especially where it's not necessarily that like these are two college students or like two college-aged students. They're a bit older, which I personally enjoy. I've tried to read a few romance books that are set in college that follow like 19, 20-year-olds, It's not really my favorite thing in the whole wide world, but I do love a school setting, so kind of conflicting messages right there, but it makes sense in my head. And I love a second chance romance sort of situation, so I think I'm really gonna love this book, and the cover is absolutely beautiful. I guess we're kind of going in order of like when I like my most recent purchases to like later purchases. I don't know why. And then my mom ended up picking me up these 2 books from Target that I have been really wanting, and this was during their like buy one get one half off sale. And so the first one she picked up for me was Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, and I have had my eye on this book for such a long time. Seriously, I have been wanting to read this book even before it got really popular on like Book Talk and like just like the book community in general. I have had my eye on this book, and it seems like one that's going to really be up my alley. On the back cover it says, a curmudgeonly professor journeys to a small town in the far north to study fairy folklore and discovers dark fae magic, friendship, and love in the start of a heartwarming and enchanting new fantasy series. And like this just seems to be like a lot of things that I love: academic rivals, fairies, folklore, all that kind of stuff. And I've heard incredible things about this book, so I am super, super pumped to read it. And it's also kind of a short read, so I feel like I can get through it pretty quickly. I'm debating whether I want to read it physically or as an audiobook. I can't remember if I have the audiobook for it. I'm not sure, but let me know down below in the comments. If you read this physically or as an audiobook, let me know which one is better. I put on a new sweatshirt today, and I'm feeling the fuzzies from inside just attracting to my eyeballs, so I have to keep pausing to be like, I think I have a fuzz in my eyeball. The second book that she picked up for me at Target is Bride by Hazelwood, which has gotten a lot of like drama surrounding it recently because of the cover of the book. If you aren't on book Twitter, you might not know, but book Twitter really lost their absolute fucking minds when they saw the special edition cover of this book that was done by the absolutely incredible and flawlessly talented Lenny Kaufman. I would absolutely die if I published a book and Lenny Kaufman got to do the cover for it, because her covers are beautiful and she has such a diverse range of like different covers that she's done, and she does a fabulous job at doing fat characters, like just absolutely fabulous. Anyway, that's a total tangent. Lenny Kaufman is an angel. But of course, book Twitter just is like, you know, I said this in a tweet, I'm like, I think that the book discourse factory is having a really slow day today, because really it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, they didn't like the special edition cover. A lot of people were trying to like frame it as this is the cover that's replacing this one. It's like, no, it's not. The special edition covers are for like fans of the book or of the author. Like, they know what they're getting into. It's not that big of a deal. Anyway, I'm really excited about this book. However, I am not typically a reader of paranormal romance. It's just never really been my thing. I read Twilight back in the day, back when I was like in middle school. Loved it just like basically everybody else. And like really the only other paranormal romance or like paranormal fantasy or anything like that that I read back then was I had 2, and they were mostly like, for some reason they were like angel romances. I read Hush Hush, that series, loved it. I know, it's a total guilty pleasure of mine. And then I also read the Halo series, which wasn't quite as popular, but was also like an angel paranormal romance fantasy sort of deal. And this is basically a paranormal romance between a werewolf and a vampire, so it's gonna be really intriguing. I don't typically consider myself a werewolf kind of person. I can kind of go 50-50 with vampires, but werewolves are usually like not my thing. But I am very excited to pick up this book because I've heard incredible things about it, and I love Hazelwood, so there's a good chance that I will enjoy this, even though I'm not a paranormal romance girly. The next 2 books are ones that I have thrifted in the past few months, and the first one is the Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. And I have not read a Helen Huang book in a really long time, but I never actually got around to the Kiss Quotient. and I am very, very excited to finally have it in my possession because I think I'm going to absolutely love it. And the reason I am so excited to finally pick up this book is that the main character actually has autism, and I think that that's really cool. I love reading books, especially romance books, that feature at least one or two main characters that have autism, and I've heard incredible things about the Kiss Quotient, so I think I'm going to love it. I think it's going to be incredible. Obviously, I mean, what can really go wrong? Basically, it's about this main character named Stella, and she has never really had a lot of like experience with romance, and in order to get that experience, she decides to hire an escort, and obviously romance ensues between them. So I am so excited to read this. I feel like I don't really have to go too in depth with this book because who doesn't know what the Kiss Quotient is about? Even if you haven't read it, I'm sure that you've heard of it. The next book that I picked up was Things in Jars by Jess Kidd. I've had my eye on this book for quite a while, and I've heard like mixed reviews about this book, but I feel like when it comes to those kind of books, the best place to get them is from the thrift store or the library, because like it's very, very low stakes. Like I said, my local thrift store prices their paperback books at 99 cents, and I'm sure that I bought this on a Monday, so I think I also get like 25% off on Mondays, so really not a bad investment. But basically on the back it says, Victorian London comes to life in this spellbinding mystery as an intrepid female sleuth wades through a murky world of collectors and criminals to recover a remarkable child. This sounds pretty intriguing, right? So I think I'm going to enjoy this, hopefully. I will say that the back cover is actually pretty vague on what it's about. I haven't really read like a good historical fiction in a while, so I think I'm going to really enjoy this. Also, sorry if the lighting keeps changing. It's been raining in California for quite a while, and today it's just like a lot of clouds moving, the sun, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully the lighting isn't too distracting for you guys. The next few books are ones that I got for Christmas from Barnes & Noble. Like I said, I was given like, I don't remember, like 20-30 bucks to go to Barnes & Noble and pick out some books for myself, and so I picked out Play For Me by Libby Hubsher. And this book really drew my attention because on the front cover, the female main character is holding a baseball glove and a baseball. And if you know me, and maybe you don't know me, maybe this is your first time ever seeing one of my videos, I love baseball so much. I am a huge Angels fan, and I'm actually currently writing a baseball romance. And so whenever I'm able to find a baseball romance in the wild, it's like so exciting for me. And so I found this one and I read the first page and I was like very, very hooked. So I ended up picking it up, and basically it's about this girl, and she used to be a trainer for, I believe, the Red Sox, but she ends up leaving that job and goes to be some sort of like physical ed teacher or trainer or some sort of deal at this boarding school. And there she ends up meeting this like aloof orchestra teacher, and I believe that they have to work together on a production of a chorus line. So it's gonna be really intriguing. I hope that there will be some like very subtle little baseball things, you know, sprinkled through this book. It feels a little bit more baseball adjacent than necessarily like about baseball, but I still have a lot of high hopes for this, and I think it's gonna be really great. The second book that I got at that trip to Barnes & Noble is one that is also very, very popular, and that is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. And I have heard incredible things about this book. And another thing about me is that I love gothic fantasy, or just like gothic novels in general, and I want to read so many more. I want to read all of them. And so when I found out that this book is very like gothic inspired, I was so intrigued and so thrilled to pick it up. So yeah, I think I'm really gonna love this book. On the back it says, Elspeth Spindle needs more than luck to stay safe in the eerie, mist-locked kingdom of Blunder. She needs a monster. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient mercurial spirit trapped in her head. He protects her, he keeps her secrets. But nothing comes for free, especially magic. When Elspeth meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road, her life takes a drastic turn. Thrust into a world of shadow and deception, she joins a dangerous quest to cure Blunder of the dark magic infecting it. Except the highwayman just so happens to be the king's own nephew, captain of the most dangerous men in Blunder, and guilty of high treason. Doesn't that sound intriguing? Doesn't that sound exciting? I'm ready for it. It is a little bit chunkier than most books that I like to read nowadays, but I'm ready for it. regardless. This next book is another one that I have thrifted, and that is Grand Union by Zadie Smith, and this is a collection of short stories. I love a good collection of short stories. I really need to get back into them this year, and I was just so intrigued by this cover. When I saw it on the shelf at the thrift store, I was like, I need to have this. It needs to be in my life immediately. On the back it says, Zadie Smith has established herself as one of the most iconic, critically respected, and popular writers of her generation. In her first short story collection, she combines her power of observation and her inimitable voice to mine the fraught and complex experience of life in the modern world. Interleaving 11 completely new and unpublished stories with some of her best beloved pieces from The New Yorker and elsewhere, Smith presents a dizzyingly rich and varied collection of fiction. Moving exhilaratingly across genres and perspectives, from the historic to the vividly current to the slyly dystopian, Grand Union is a sharply alert and prescient collection about time and place, identity and rebirth, the persistent legacies that haunt our present selves, and the uncanny futures that rush up to meet us. So this sounds really exciting. I kind of want to do that thing where I read a story every once in a while and like I'm able to finish this entire book by the end of the year. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So I might do it with this book. That kind of sounds intriguing to me. We'll see how it goes. The next book is one that I actually picked up from the Dollar Tree, which I have like a love-hate relationship with the books at the Dollar Tree. They used to be a lot better. They used to have such a good selection, but now recently I feel like their selection has drastically dwindled, which is fine, but also a little bit disappointing because I really enjoyed buying my books from there. But that's okay. I did recently find a book that I was really interested in, and that is called Grownups by Emma Jane Unsworth. I know it has a Target sticker on it, but I swear I bought it from the Dollar Tree. And I was just really intrigued by this because it has sort of an interesting structure. On the back it says, Jenny McLean's life is falling apart. Her friendships are flagging, her body has failed her. She's just lost her column at the Foof because she isn't the fierce voice new feminism needs. Her ex has gotten together with another woman, and worst of all, Jenny's mother is about to move in. Having left home at 18 to remake herself as a self-sufficient millennial, Jenny is now in her 30s and nothing is as she thought it would be, least of all adulthood. Told in Livewire prose, text, emails, script dialogue, and social media messages, Grownups is a neurotic dramedy of 21st century manners for the digital age. So like I said, I think it's gonna be really intriguing and a interesting perspective on the modern millennial. I'm not quite in my 30s yet, so I might not be able to fully relate to this, but we'll see how it goes. I just really like the cover of it. It really caught my eye when I was in Dollar Tree. And then the next couple of books are all ones that have been sent to me from the publisher. I believe that these are all imprints of Penguin Random House, so thank you to Penguin Random House and all of their imprints for sending me books. The first two that I want to talk about are two poetry collections, which I actually really need to read one of them this month because I just have had my eye on it, and that is Spectral Evidence by Gregory Pardlow. I love the cover of this. I love the text. I love the portrait. I think that that's really, really haunting and beautiful. And I honestly haven't picked up a poetry collection in such a long time. And then this one is Pacific Power and Light by Michael Dickman. And it's kind of nice to have some new like poetry collections that I can delve deep into. These ones look really good too. I might want to read both of them this month. Maybe in March. Maybe I will push this back to March because we really don't have very many more days left in February. This next one is one that I'm very intrigued by, and that is Serenade by Toni Bentley. This one has a lot to do with ballet, which I am very interested in. On the back it says, at 17, Toni Bentley was chosen by George Balanchine, then in his final years, to join the New York City Ballet. From backstage and onstage, she carries us through the serendipitous history and physical intricacies of one of his greatest works, Serenade. Its dazzling opening with 17 women in a double diamond pattern, its radical use of the highly refined language that is ballet, its place in the choreographer's own dramatic story of fleeing from Soviet Russia, its mystical and literal embodiment of the tradition of classical ballet is just 33 minutes. Bentley takes us inside the rarefied and thrilling world Balanchine created through his lifelong devotion to celebrating female beauty and strength. a world that inevitably passed upon his death. An intimate elegy to grace and loss and to the imprint of a towering artist on Bentley's own life, Serenade, a Balanchine story, is a rich narrative about the nature of art itself at its most ephemeral and glorious. So yeah, I'm so intrigued by this. I've never heard of this person or this ballet before, so I am so intrigued. It's not super long. I think it's about 250 pages, and there are some like really interesting pictures in here, as you can see. Pictures of the ballet itself. So yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun and very intriguing. The next book is an Autobiography of Skin by Lakeisha Carr. This one seems to deal with a lot of like family dynamics, which I am very interested in. I love reading books that have to do with family and the relationships between different members of a certain family. And on the back it says, in East Texas, a middle-aged woman sneaks away to feed slots in a secret backroom parlor where she has found community and friendship. A new mother confronts her fear that she is unable to protect her children, and a devoted daughter returns home to join the other women in her family, waging spiritual combat with the ghosts of their past. An Autobiography of Skin is a dazzling portrait of interconnected generations in the South, offering a tender view into the interior lives of Black women. It is at once a powerful look at how experiences are carried inside the body and a joyous testament to how healing can be found within, in love, mercy, gratitude, and freedom. And then the last two books I believe are both nonfiction, and the first one is Dead Weight, Essays on Hunger and Harm by Emmeline Klein, and this one seems really intriguing as well. It just says, a personal and cultural look at the dark underbelly of Western beauty standards and the lethal culture of disordered eating they've wrought. I love reading books about this topic. I think that it's very interesting, especially as somebody who has struggled with disordered eating in the past. And I'm also a huge fan of the podcast Maintenance Phase, so yeah, very interested in this topic. And then the very last book in this haul is Making It in America by Rachel Slade. It says the almost impossible quest to manufacture in the USA and how it got that way. Another topic that I'm really interested in is just like clothing manufacturing and stuff like that. I think that it's a very, very timely topic. And also look at their really cool end pages. I think that that's awesome. And I might try to find it on audiobook because I do really enjoy listening to nonfiction books. But yeah, very excited to have this one. All right, so that was the entire haul. I feel like I have been talking for forever, but I am really glad that I finally got to do this haul and show you guys some of the books that I have acquired in the past few months. I doubt that I will be doing a haul anytime soon, though my birthday is next month, so I don't know if I'll be getting any other books by that time. I'm gonna be turning 29, so not a super important birthday, but also a very nerve-wracking birthday. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this book haul, and let me know if you have picked up any of these books and if you have enjoyed them, or if you are interested in picking them up in the future. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, Storygraph, TikTok. All the links are down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!